Make it. Thank you for starting the recording. And yeah, go ahead, Allie and Harold.
So I'm Allie, and I'm your internal vice president.
I'm Harold, and I'm your historian.
Woo! We'll be presenting to you today. Thanks for coming out.
So how to become a PPS Pay member. First off, you fill out the PPS membership form. Second, you pay the fee via Venmo at pps@uci. Third, you email our IVP Allie at her email to pick up your exclusive shirt. All right, and finally, you can view your stamp count using our very own virtual stamp sheet. All of these links are provided from the slide there. And as for our PTCB question of the week, an 8-year-old boy weighs 75 pounds. The adult dosage of a drug is 400 milligrams. And the child's dosage using Clark's rule is how much? And your hint for the formula is right under. Don't worry, Ethan, you can drop, let's see, you can drop 10 of these. You're fine. No pressure.
God bless.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the polling in about 30 more seconds, so get your last answers in.
All right, pretty good. So as most people pick, it's A. So the formula is just a quick rundown. The adult dosage times the weight over 150 pounds. You know that the boy weighs, 75? So that's half of 150. So all you do is just half the drug dosage. You get 200 milligrams. And thank you all for coming out to our week 6 general meeting with Tony Park. He had some very interesting stories, all of them. So we hope you enjoyed learning about how you got a PharmD JD degree. And for our week 7 after social, we're just gonna have chill and chat. Nothing too much, too exciting. Just come out, chill if you can, you got time, you know. And for our upcoming event, we have the week 8 dinner social. It's going to be Wednesday, November 11th from 6 to 7 p.m. via Zoom. Just here to have fun, eat food, enjoy turkey, type of Thanksgiving stuff. And for our volunteer opportunity, we have the OCPHA Pharmacy Volunteer, which is located in a community pharmacy in Orange County. Get some volunteering experiences if you need it. Just fill out the Google form here. And as a side note, that these spots are limited, so please fill them out whenever you can, as soon as possible.
And now we'll let our fundraising chair talk about the slide.
All right. Hello, everyone. So I'm Ryan, your fundraising chair. Okay, so we have decided that unfortunately we're going to cancel this quarters of restaurant fundraiser because of the COVID situation. We're turning to purple tier, and we want to keep everyone safe and healthy to try to stay at home as much as possible. So yeah, we are going to further extend this probably into the next quarter, and we'll update you on any further information like that. But thanks for the people who filled out the interest form. We really do appreciate it. And for this week, we'll continue to promote episode 2 of the podcast, where Dr. Tu Tran, currently an acute pharmacist, who talks about his experience at Midwestern University where he got his PharmD, and how his family inspires him into going to the pharmacy road. So if you want to hear our podcast, it's all on our 8 major podcast platforms. And yeah, stay tuned for the third episode announcement, which will be on week 9. Last but not least, we still have stickers left. So feel free to contact me for any other inquiries about these stickers. It's $2 for each sticker with free shipping, and these very cute stickers. It'll be good to give it out to your friends and stuff. So yeah, just you can fill out the purchase form in order to purchase and put the payment, and I will send you a confirmation email. And yeah, that's how you purchase our stickers.
Also, if you guys are interested in getting some more PPS merch, you can get your PPS sweaters by filling out this pre-order form. Complete your payment to our Venmo PPS at UCI. Once we receive your order confirmation, you can pick up or receive your sweater either in the mail, or if you happen to be in Irvine, you can pick it up here. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact our publicity chair, Christine, at her email on the slide. An upcoming event that we have is our KGI virtual visit. So the Keck Graduate Institute School of Pharmacy and Health Sciences virtual visit. It's a really cool opportunity to learn about what their pharmacy program has to offer you. If you're interested in pursuing a PharmD with them, or you just want to get your feet wet in understanding what they have to offer. This is going to be on Zoom again, and it'll be on Saturday, November 21st, at the end of week 7, so this week, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This Google interest form is due on November 18th, so tonight at 11:59 p.m. If you're interested in doing so, feel free to fill it out, and paid members get stamps for attending. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to email me. And also, I know there were a lot of concerns regarding the stamps on your stamp sheet with these. So if you actually complete the eval, there's a secret code that comes once you fill it out, and you can just direct that to our secretary, Chantel, at her email, or you can DM her via Messenger, and you'll get an additional stamp for that. Another upcoming event we have is our winter retreat, which will be taking place on Sunday, December 20th from 3 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. This is going to be hosted over Zoom as well, but this is a really cool opportunity to just kind of hang out and learn more about your PPS members, create those fun memories while we are in a pandemic. There's never not an opportunity to connect with people. So if you're interested, please fill out the Google form by December 19th. At 11:59 p.m. Paid members do get a stamp for attending this as well. So if you're interested, come on out. And there also might be a talent show portion. So, ooh, fun, exciting. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me as well. And a big event that we have that we've been promoting all this time is our Pre-Pharmacy Day. So this is happening on Saturday, January 16th from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. This will be on Zoom. And this is a really great opportunity to learn about different types of pharmacy schools and network with professionals and reps that attend. If you want to get your questions answered directly, or you just want to learn about the application process, or you want to understand where different schools are in terms of their PharmD programs and how they're kind of adapting to the situation as well, it's a really good place for you to go. If you're interested, please feel free to fill out our Google form by January 9th at 11:59 p.m. Any questions, comments, or concerns, you can direct them to our ambassador, Tyler, at his email on the slide. Thank you. Also, please stay connected with us. We have various forms of social media. You can reach out to us on our Facebook page, our Instagram, our lovely website, our Discord, and our Zoom study room. Our Zoom study room is 24/7, so if you're interested in just finding a nice place to study, if you need something to keep you, focused, this is a good place to be. And now we would like to welcome our fellow board. We have Jenny, Brian, and Dana. Yay, thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, Allie. So hi guys, thanks for coming out today. Jenny, Ryan, and I are so excited to present and help you plan as a pre-pharmacy student. So these are some items that pharmacy schools generally look for in an applicant. They typically want a strong GPA, 3.0 minimum, and 3.4 to 3.5 for competitive, but no worries if your GPA isn't exactly up to par because programs will look at applicants holistically. Dr. Mark Bahe, the clinical pharmacist who spoke at a general meeting earlier this year, is a great example of how GPA isn't always a measure of success. And pharmacy experience would be great to show that you have really taken pharmacy into account and that you have been exposed to pharmacy and you know that pharmacy is the right field for you. Leadership roles and communication skills are also important. They want to see that you have developed these strong qualities of a leader and that you know how to communicate with patients and other healthcare professionals. Lastly, fun and unique people. Everyone is special in their own way and they really want to know what you're passionate about. So don't be afraid to express yourself in your application or interview.
So if you want to go into a pre-farm route, definitely I think even if you go into other routes, you kind of do need to plan your way out of how you are gonna want to achieve where you want to be in your future career. So it's definitely important to plan out everything. And here are the three main plans that I think is very important. So first, you would like to plan out your academics. For most of you freshmen probably have currently taken Pharm Sci 1, who are doing the 4-year plan on finishing prerequisites and seeing how your 4-year plan as undergrad, how it goes with your classes. If you want to further go ahead on your schedule, you may want to consider taking summer classes, either on UCs, at UCI or other UCs, or a local community college. And I know that, I don't know if they offer this upcoming summer, but I think they only take 8 units of tuition for summer. So you can take much more than you want. So also, you would like to maybe start studying and schedule your PCAT. If the pharmacy school you want to go to do require PCAT. So next, you would like to plan out your summer activities. You know, it is actually kind of scary when you think about your last actual fully free summer is your transition from high school to college. So yeah, I think it is very important to actually plan out what you're going to do during your summer time. It is good to have breaks and have some vacations if not COVID. But I think it is also important to try to find places to further develop yourself, even by just taking classes. That could really help you into going forward. Last but not least, we have planned out different extracurriculars, which is also really important because it will help you to build networking and more experience into the field you want to go. So this says that stick to one that you're passionate about. I think this is also very important, but if you're a freshman, I think it is also important to explore more before trying to pick the one that you really are passionate about. I will talk about that a little bit more later on in the presentation.
Hi everyone. So I also work as a peer academic advisor, so I'll just be going over some resources and tips that we have for our students. Here you can see that we've listed the typical pharmacy school prerequisites, but please note that it does vary from school to school, so we really do suggest for you to look up the prerequisites for the schools that you're interested in. But in general, here it is. I'm not going to go through every single thing just because a lot of it is similar to the Pharm Sci curriculum, but some things I do want to point out is the upper division that you have to take for biology. So this is something that will most likely vary from school to school. The most common ones might be human physiology or microbiology or anatomy, but again, this can change. So this is something that you can think about when you're planning your 4-year plan. You can take this prerequisite at a community college or UCI, but please note that if you do take it at a community college, it's considered as lower division. If you do want to take it at UCI to count as an upper division elective as well for graduation, then you will have to take it like at UCI, you can't take it at a community college. But there are like a lot of things here, as you can see, but I hope you're not too worried about it because again, it is covered by the Pharm Sci major requirements. So you should be able to finish most of these just by attending UCI as a Pharm Sci major. Here you can see our undergraduate sample program. This has a lot of the classes that were listed in the previous slide. Something to note about this slide is just that the classes highlighted in orange are the ones that are highly suggested or must be taken that quarter. However, some courses that you can move around are perhaps like Bio 97, Bio 98, or Bio 99. Some people choose to take it over the summer before their second year, one each summer session. If you do choose to do that, that could lighten the workload during your second year. Something else you could do is move up Pharm Sci 173 from your fourth year to your third year. This is something I would actually recommend, and this is something that a lot of us do choose to do because the material in Pharm Sci 173 and 170B tends to overlap. So if you do take these together, it's very beneficial because it's kind of like studying for like 1.5 classes, not really 2 classes, in my opinion. You could also move up Pharm Sci 172 from year 4 to year 3. As you can see, there is some sort of flexibility, but again, I definitely suggest just thinking about it thoroughly before you do it and look at the prerequisites. You can find the prerequisites online just by looking at the UCI general catalog, and it'll show you the prereqs, the units, what GE it fulfills, etc. So you can make sure that you meet everything before you decide to shift to anything. And if you ever have any questions, you can always contact the Pharm Sci department and we'll help you with that too. So this is also the undergraduate sample program. It's just the bottom half of it. So you can see that we've listed upper division electives. These are all the classes you can take at UCI in order to count towards your 2 upper division courses that you need to graduate. So it can be a bit confusing because you need upper division electives for pharmacy school and you also need some for Pharm Sci. But just speaking about Pharm Sci, you will need 8 units to graduate, which is 4 2-unit courses. But you can also take like perhaps 1 4-unit, 1 6-unit. So it is a bit flexible. But here we've highlighted the classes that are most commonly required from pharmacy schools. Like I mentioned, the human anatomy, the microbiology, some of them require labs, some of them don't. But something to note about this is that these bio courses are restricted to bio majors until a certain date. So it is a bit difficult for some Pharm Sci majors to get into the course. So I would definitely prepare a backup, for example, like a pharmaceutical sciences course, because of course you won't be restricted since you're a Pharm Sci major. But if you are a bio sci major, then you would definitely be able to get into those classes. And lastly, in this box, you can see that we've highlighted courses that are recommended for students interested in attending pharmacy school, just because some pharmacy schools want a social science course. So there's Anthro 2A, Psych 7A, Sociology 1. These are GE3s, which is social and behavioral sciences. A lot of students take this just because it fulfills that one social science requirement for pharmacy school. And then there's also stats, econ, speech class, and then also some labs, which is required for some schools as well. Research is totally optional. If you are interested, I definitely encourage you to pursue it, but of course it's not something that you have to do. If you are involved in other things, then that's totally fine too. I wanted to go over this because we have been getting a lot of questions from students about what is required of them in order to graduate. And I understand it is quite confusing. So if you entered in the fall of 2017, you have the option to either complete chemistry 51LD or both physics labs in order to graduate. But if you entered in fall 2018 or anytime after, so 2019, 2020, you have to complete Chem 51LD by graduation, and then physics labs are just optional for you. So I know this is a bit confusing and we apologize for that. It's just because there was a curriculum change within those years, but that's what they're transitioning to now, just having the Chem 51LD as a requirement. And if you are looking to get your degree works updated, please note that it's not automatic. We have to manually go in and do it, so you can fill out this form to have your degree works updated. Lastly, here are some resources. If you want to contact us, you can definitely email us, but here is our website. So we have the general website. We have a lot of resources for undergrad students in our major, and also graduate school resources. So if you're interested in pharmacy school, we have some resources on our website. Also, there's assist.org, and assist.org is a website you can use to determine what class you can take at a community college and how it will transfer over to UCI. This is very helpful, but it can be a bit difficult to navigate if it's your first time, so you can definitely ask us if you have questions. And then lastly, Farmcast directory. This is really useful because it's going to be accurate because the schools update it every year because they want people to apply to their school. So they're going to update it with the prerequisites if anything has changed, and basically going to have the deadlines of when the application is due, and anything they want you to know about the school, they'll put on this website.
Oops, I'm muted, my bad. So here are the examples of our 4-year plans between me, Jenny, and Dana.
Okay, so I'll just be sharing my 4-year plan first. I'm not going to go through everything just because it's very similar to the sample program. I'll just point out what's unique about it. So in my freshman year, I took the classes that were required of me, and I also took some summer classes. So these are the summer classes I took over the summer at a community college. You can see the units are a bit different, and that's because semester units transfer over to quarter units a little bit differently. So for example, Math 2B that I took at Cypress College was 4 units, but you multiply the semester units by 1.5 in order to get the quarter units, which is why it's like 6. So something else is that I participated in Commuter Connection, which is a club that we had for commuter students in PharmSci. You can see the Uni Affairs 1A, 1B, and 1C. So if you're wondering what that is, that's where that came from. And my involvements were just being a general member in PPS. I was a mentee in PSNP, and I started my farm tech job, and I was the Commuter Connection member. In my second year, everything looks normal again, but in the fall and winter quarters, I had PharmSci 198 because I was a seminar assistant for Commuter Connection, so I got units for that. And then in the summer, I took classes again. I took classes at a community college. I kind of just wanted to finish off my GEs, and I was able to do so that summer. And my involvements were being fundraising chair for PPS. I was a mentor for PSNP. I continued to be a farm tech and a PAA, and I became the seminar assistant for Commuter Connection and a mentor. Moving on to my third year, the things that I would like to point out is that I retook Chem 51C, and that's because I didn't pass it the first time, which is totally fine, you know, it happens. But I was also a seminar assistant again for Commuter Connection, so that's PharmSci 198. And because I took Chem 51C in my fall third year, I moved BioSci 100 to winter. And then in spring, you can see that I moved up 173, like I suggested earlier in the presentation. So that quarter does look a bit full, but some people do choose to take classes over the summer before their third year, so it wouldn't be as hectic. So that's definitely an option for you. And I took one physics lab just because one was required for the schools that I applied to. And then in regard to my extracurriculars, I was the IVP for PPS, a farm tech again, a PAA again, and then a Commuter Connection, seminar assistant, and mentor again. And moving on to my last year, this quarter I'm taking a bit more classes than usual. I just decided to start my upper divs just because I'm in my last year. I really wanted to kind of start because I was getting worried. So I took microbio right now this quarter with all these other farm sci classes. Next quarter, I actually wanted to take a fun class because I'm going to be peer tutoring, which is what the PharmSci 198 is from. I'm going to be peer tutoring, and I feel like I will be spending a lot of time just trying to help the students. So I wanted to take a non-STEM class instead of just taking my upper div in the same quarter. So I'm just going to be taking those PharmSci classes, a psych class, and then being a peer tutor. And then in the spring, I'm just going to be taking my last upper division class and 2 fun GEs. You have the option to be a part-time student in your last quarter at UCI if you do choose to. So for example, if you didn't take PharmSci 173 your third year and you just have that one class to take your senior year in spring, you can be a part-time student as long as you have 10 units or less. So that's definitely something you can do if you don't want to take more classes. And something else I want to note is that it's pretty easy to graduate 1 quarter early if that does interest you. You would just move that PharmSci 173 class up and do your upper divs before you graduate. And last thing is just my extracurriculars. So I am currently the PPS president. I continue to work as a farm tech, continue to work as a PAA, and I will be a peer tutor. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So I'll now be talking about my four-year plan. So I took a lot of AP classes in high school and came in with a lot of units. So that's why I only take around 12 to 14 units a quarter. It's also out of personal preference, but those who are taking 18 plus units up from that, you guys are gods. So yeah, my first year was pretty normal. I mainly followed the undergraduate program that the farm sci department has on their website and the one that we shared earlier. But one thing I would like to point out is that I do highly recommend taking some bio classes over the summer to make your second year easier, because as you may have heard, OChem is pretty rough. A fellow PPS member actually recommended that I take at least Bio 98, and it was probably one of the best choices I made. Looking back, I should have taken more classes during my first summer session, but I didn't know about the pay for 8 incentive that UCI offers. So for those of you who don't know, summer classes are charged by the course unit count. So let's say you take 12 units over the summer, you would only have to pay for the first 8 units, and then the remaining 4 units are paid for by UCI. So that's like a really nice option to take advantage of. Taking Bio 98 over the summer made my winter quarter, second year winter quarter a lot easier, because 51B in your second year is no joke, especially if you're taking it with Dr. King, like I did with some of my fellow third years. We survived, but that quarter was pretty rough, not gonna lie. So try and lessen your course load for second year winter quarter as much as possible. And since we're talking about second year now, I took the core bio and OChem classes along with some GEs, and I finished all my GEs then. I definitely recommend taking a philosophy class with Professor Duncan Pritchard if you need to fulfill a GE category 4, which is the arts and humanities category. The class is super easy and it's not a lot of work, and the course material is pretty interesting. So it's a win-win situation either way. Then in the summer, I took physics. Just to note that physics lab is part of the 10-week summer session. So I did physics lab for all of session 1 and for part of session 2 while taking the other physics classes. And then moving on to my third year where I'm currently at, since Chem 51 LC was not offered in the spring due to COVID, I had to move it to fall. And then I'm planning to get my farm tech license during the winter, so that's why I'm not taking as many classes. And then the reason why my spring 2021 and fall 2021 look so crammed is because the pharmacist I volunteer for recommended that I don't take any classes in the summer while I'm applying a pharmacy school. And I also plan to graduate a quarter early just to work and hopefully travel. So yeah, your third and fourth year are really important times to check on your prerequisites for the pharmacy schools that you're interested in applying for, and just to make sure that you take the classes that they specifically want. And then I'll talk about my extracurriculars. So I've been involved with PPS since my first year. I was also a PSMP mentee, and I was part of Commuter Connections like Jenny was. And then for my second year, yes, Commuter Connections. And then for my second year, I was fundraising chair for PPS. I became a mentor for Commuter Connections. And I also did tutoring for high school AP Chem students. And that was also when I got my position as a volunteer at the pharmacy. And then for my third year, I'm now your EVP. I still volunteer at the pharmacy, and hopefully I will get my farm tech license this winter. We shall see. And then my senior year, I will still be in PPS and still be volunteering at the pharmacy.
All right, hello everyone. Okay, here is my four-year plan. It's pretty similar, and it should be. There are a few points that I did took quite a bit. Not really. I didn't think as much as you guys for AP classes. I took AP Stats, AP Macro, AP Chinese to fulfill my language requirement, and I took AP Bio and AP US Gov just for elective credits. So I also took took the equivalent Chem 1A course in a community college during my junior to senior year of high school. So basically, I don't have a Chem 1A in my fall quarter as a freshman, which was somewhat of a bad idea because when I get into Chem 1B and Chem 1C, it was a bit challenging because like the basis of what I took from the community college course covered is not the same as 1A, although it's kind of counted as equivalent course, something like that. So yeah, it was a little bit challenging. So for my first year, I did participate in a lot of extracurriculars just to try to find out what do I like. Even the clubs that are not in farm side, like UCI Circle K and UCI HKSU, which is my cultural club. I was a PBS board intern last year, and I was a PSMP mentee. I went to PACA meeting a few times. That's why I just put it there. And fortunately, I was able to get my pharmacy student worker position during the end of winter, which is when COVID happened. So I just kind of started work now, but yeah, I was able to get this position that I really like in the student health center. And okay, that's basically my maybe I can talk a little bit about my summer classes too. My summer classes, I just want to offload a bit of my, my bios, like the writing class, it's going to be hard if I'm going to take it during the winter next, the second year. And for my second summer session, I just took some kind of chill, fun farm side classes, get to know the professors a little bit more. Because farm side 90 is taught by Dr. Schreiner, 42 is taught by Dr. Jafari. And for my sophomore year, this quarter is one of my weird quarters because I don't have my 97. I have just my normal Chem 1 LD and 51A OChem. And I decided to take Asian M50 for GE for the arts category. Not gonna lie, it's a bit challenging if you're not a very good writer. Like if you don't like writing, you wouldn't like that class. But okay, all right. So I would say that yeah, be aware of that if you don't like writing. And for Social 51, it's a kind of like an Asian M related class too. So and then moving forward, I have also these normal biochem classes. Also planning to take Philos 4 and Philos 1 to fulfill my art GEs. And for this summer, I'm still not really sure should I take a class in UCI. Maybe because I want to focus more on finding research and getting my farm tech license. For the third and fourth year is still pretty much unsure. I think both Jenny and Dana has a way better coverage than me in terms of what they want to do during their third and fourth year. I do want to maybe do Bioscience 199 for research to just get the opportunity. And yeah, basically that's kind of it. And for the extracurriculars, I still continue to plan to participate fully in PPS. Maybe I'm looking in either doing PSMP or tutoring for a particular subject. Maybe I'll get somewhat of a promotion to a farm tech. I don't know. And yeah, that's basically my extracurriculars.
Okay, now we're moving on to how to prepare for pharmacy school.
Okay, so for your freshman year, I think it is very important to you to transition from being like a high school senior to a college freshman. I think it's really important to build good study habits, basically to maintain a good, decent GPA. So if you get into the harder classes during your juniors and senior years, you don't crumble. Start planning your 4 years, which is what I think you guys are currently doing now. Getting involved in extracurricular clubs and campus resources to help you grow. I think this is also very important. I've mentioned that I participate in a lot of organizations during my first year, now I try to focus more on the organizations that I think it will help me further grow. And get to know your professors and potential mentors. I think that's why I think joining PSMP is also a very good option for you to just understand farm sci, get into like the college life a little bit better, and also get to know your professors. Sometimes you may not have like a specific questions about like the content of the class to your professor, but you can just join the office hour and be there, you know, just having a normal conversation with a professor, just to let them know you. That, you know, these kind of relationships would it could become important later in your college career, even if the professor is not like a STEM professor. So you can study and take your PTCE. I'm planning to do that second year, and finding pharmacy volunteer and job opportunities. Yes, as I've said that before, like I was really lucky. I was able to get the position that I have now. But I think it sometimes could be a little bit challenging to find these positions if you don't have a farm chat license. That's why we try to provide, you know, you have the OCPHA opportunity, and potentially we have our other opportunity emails. So feel free to look into those and try to find these opportunities as much as possible. Learn more about pharmacy. You're here to learn more about pharmacy in PPS. So, and also to record meaningful experiences in a journal. I mean, I think now we are in a very special situation. So I think that this is also not a bad idea. So moving on to sophomore year, you can start thinking about potential letter of recommendation writers. By continue to how you interact with your professors, going to science professors' office hours often. I always go to Professor King's office hours, and try if you can try to find a research group. I know it's pretty challenging because most research groups are kind of like virtual, and it's pretty hard. But I think there's a lot of professors that are still very willing to accept undergraduates and to participate into their research, as long as you're passionate about it. Be more active in clubs, gain leadership roles and experience. I think it is also very important that you try to be more than a member. Maybe you can try to participate we can try to organize be part of the organizing events of the club by being a board member, or you know, joining in as an intern. That's a very good experience too. Talking to students who are applying to pharmacy school for any tips. You can talk to your current seniors about like, how does it feel to be applying to pharmacy school? How does it feel to get accepted? Or you can talk about students or alumni who are currently in pharmacy school and how they feel about their experience so far. And that's where our podcast kicks in. You know, you have a lot of these alumni talking about their experience. So I think this is also very good resources for you, even if you can't directly talk to them. Last but not least, check your pharmacy school specific prerequisites. I think these prerequisites for each school visits and maybe potential mixers that we have in the future, they'll present their specific prerequisites. So you can just check it over to see if you have filled out these prerequisites in your 4-year plan.
Okay, moving on to junior year. So this is the year we're going to start applying to pharmacy school if you want to head straight there without taking a gap year. So it's recommended that you start studying for the PCAT this summer before your 3rd year. Another great thing to do is to learn more about the pharmacy schools that you are potentially interested in applying to. So we offer events such as NorCal Trip and pharmacy school info sessions. And these are the best times to meet the reps and get to know students who are currently attending the pharmacy school, and just ask some questions about what they like about pharmacy school, if they have any advice. And you should also be starting to rank the pharmacy schools in order to figure out what your top schools are so you can really focus on getting into those schools. And you should also start working on your personal statement then. A common question that pharmacy schools ask is why pharmacy? So be prepared to answer that question and have at least 3 people look over your statement. So someone who knows you really well, someone who doesn't know you well, and just someone who can look for grammatical errors. You want as many eyes as possible on your statement just to see if there could be any possible improvements. And yeah, it can take months to write a good statement, so be prepared to have multiple drafts. And this is when you should ask for your letter of recommendations from your professors, any pharmacists you work for, or your manager, your researchers. You want to give them a notice at least 3 months in advance. And it would be great if you could give them what we call a letter of recommendation packet. We are actually going to have a whole general meeting just based on letters of recommendations in winter quarter. So look out for that if you're not sure what to put in the packet or how to even ask your professors. And you want to make sure that you ask someone who knows you very well throughout many years so they can see the personal growth you had throughout the years. And yeah, check out our presentation next quarter about letter of recommendations to get more information.
All right, so in your senior year, if you are applying to pharmacy school, I would try your best to be strategic and really think about which schools you want to apply to first. I think this isn't something that naturally comes to mind because some of us may just want to submit our applications for all the schools as soon as possible, but it's definitely important to consider how they accept people or how they start looking at applications. So for example, there's rolling admissions, non-rolling admissions, and also early submission, which I just found out about this year. So rolling admissions is when the school is continuously looking at applications as they come in. So with these types of schools, you want to apply as soon as possible because they're going to look at your application once they get it, and then they're going to think if like they want you for an interview, and if so, they'll invite you, and then you will interview and you'll know within like 2 weeks or so. So for rolling admission schools, like for example, Western or USC, these schools are rolling admissions, so you'd want to apply early. Next, there's non-rolling admissions. This is kind of the opposite, basically. So these schools don't look at the applications until the deadline has passed. So for example, UCSD and UCSF, they are non-rolling. So they can accept all the applications and you could submit as early as you want, but they're still going to look at it around the same time as everyone else's, as long as it's submitted before the deadline. But there is something else that these non-rolling schools can have, which is early submission. So early submission can sometimes be mistaken for early decision, but early decision you don't really have to worry about because that's not going to be a thing anymore after this year. But early submission is when you can submit your applications before a deadline and then get it reviewed and then start the whole interview process and stuff. But it's non-rolling, but it's early submission. So it's just like one chance for you to get that application reviewed before everyone else's, I guess. So I'll just give you an example that might make it easier to understand because it is a bit confusing. But for example, UCSD, they're non-rolling admissions. So their application's gonna, it's gonna be due like, I don't know, December or something. And they have early submission. So if you submit your application before the end of August, then they will look at everyone that submitted their application before the end of August, interview all those people, decide if they want to admit them or not. But everyone else after that point will not get reviewed or anything until the deadline passes. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're wondering if a school is rolling, non-rolling, or early submission, I would look at their website or just email them to ask. But this is definitely important to keep in mind when you're applying to schools. Next, you can plan your class schedules accordingly because you will have to prepare for interviews and you will have interviews throughout the quarter if you do choose to apply to a lot. Because of this, I would suggest applying early, not only to like get into the schools that are rolling admission, but also keep in mind like you're going to be busy with other things. So for me, I applied rather early, so my interview was like week 1, I think, of fall quarter. So that was really beneficial for me because if I had it now, I think I'd be very stressed out. You want time to prepare for your interview. So that's why I suggest applying early if possible, if it's like rolling admission or early submission. But, you know, sometimes things come up and you can't submit your application early. So your interview may be in the middle of fall or the middle of winter. And if that's the case, you want to keep that in mind when making your schedules. Lastly, definitely practice interview skills. So Dana was talking about how you should have people look over your personal essay, but it's also really important to practice your interviewing with other people. So UCI Career Center is a great resource. They offer free video lessons and mock interviews if you do want that practice, but also like just having some family members, maybe siblings or parents or friends helping you with your interview is very helpful. And if not, then maybe you could even practice with yourself in the mirror or through like Zoom or something since interviews are through Zoom this year. But yes, that's a great resource.
And if you do decide to take a gap year, you really want to make sure that you had a meaningful experience this year because pharmacy schools are going to ask you what you did during your gap year. So this is a perfect time to finish up any pharmacy school prereqs that you haven't finished yet, either at a community college or at a UC. It's also a great time to get more experience in the field of pharmacy. So you could either work as a pharmacy clerk or technician and look into other fields of pharmacy. You could shadow pharmacists or attend webinars, seminars on pharmacists who are speaking about their fields, research, something like that. And this is also a great time for you to mature and grow and learn more about yourself before applying to pharmacy school. It's also great to travel, get more experiences. And if you still decide to apply to pharmacy school, make sure that you have everything prepared for it.
All right, so now we're gonna briefly go over applying to pharmacy school. We're just gonna go over it in a few slides, but we will be having a presentation on applying to pharmacy school in the spring for current third years that are planning to apply over the summer or any fourth years that are planning to take a gap year. So first thing is the PharmCast criteria. This is what your evaluators will be judging you based off of. So some things, just looking at it here, is leadership, empathy, judgment, communication, professional appearance. So these are just things that I would keep in mind when you're speaking or being in contact with your evaluators, because this is what they will be judging you based off of. You want them to recall experiences with you where you have portrayed these traits well. So definitely keep it in mind. In this recommendation portal screenshot, you can see the characteristics or the qualities again, and you can see that they rank it from excellent to not observed. So again, it's just very important to show that you have these qualities, and they also have the option to upload a document. So this is where they will upload your letter. But overall, please note that this is outdated because we don't have many people like on the inside that will provide this for us.
And like Jenny mentioned, we are going to be having a presentation during spring quarter about applying to pharmacy school. But if you are interested in learning about it now, last year, our president, Kenneth, gave a very informative presentation on the process of applying to pharmacy school. And I put the links below to the Google Slides and the Zoom meeting recording if you want to check it out. And all these slides will be available on our email that we send out weekly and also our PPS website.
All right, thank you everyone. We do went a little bit over time, but we can still take some questions.
So feel free to ask us anything.
Also message in the chat if you're comfortable with that as well.
Hi guys. So essentially this presentation answered 4 out of 5 of my questions, which was awesome. But I was wondering, as a public health sciences major, would math 5A and 5B, which is one of the requirements, count for calculus as well?
Do you mean 2A and 2B?
There's the option to take 2A and 2B, but 5A and 5B are kind of like calculus with the biological kind of perspective. Yeah.
I would honestly, are you asking to fulfill the calculus requirement for pharmacy school or for your major?
For both pharmacy school and my major at the same time.
For your major, I would definitely suggest checking your degree works because they'll show which math classes they'll accept. But for pharmacy schools, I would honestly check the requirements because I know like when they show the UCI like specific courses that they accept, they typically list 2A and 2B. So I would check just to make sure you're not taking it for no reason.
Yes, thank you so much, Jenny.
Hi, I also had a question regarding pharmacy side, like as the major itself. So myself being a public health sciences major, I was wondering if the pharm sci courses that everyone had described in the presentation and in their schedules was more of like an optional thing for someone who wasn't a pharmacy sci major, or do you think it would be better to take those courses as well as the courses needed to fulfill our own major requirements?
So for the classes that you're referring to from our 4-year plans, are you referring to the pharm sci classes or like GEs or bio and chem or which ones?
More of the courses that were selective for pharmacy sci majors.
I think she meant like the farm side, like 171, like all those like the
Like the
ones
more
that take
classes we
fourth
take
year.
during 3rd and 4th year.
Yeah. Jenny.
Oh, is she frozen?
Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. So can you hear me or no?
I can hear you, but it's
we just can't see you.
Okay.
Oh, I think you're good now? Or not? Okay. Sorry, Rosanna.
It's okay, I understand.
Yeah, I think Jenny would better answer your question because she is a peer academic advisor. But I think for the public. Oh, is she back? Oh no, Jenny.
I was just gonna answer in the chat. Can you hear me or no?
Okay, yeah.
We're good now.
Are we good or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I was just gonna say that for the pharm sci classes, you typically do have to be a pharm sci major to take the course because it is restricted to pharm sci majors. But after the restriction lifts, you would be able to take that course, but you still also have to meet the prerequisites. So for example, pharm sci 170A, just like off the top of my head, I know the prerequisites are 51C, so organic chemistry and also human physiology. So if you do want to take that course and you are not a pharm sci major, just make sure that you take those courses and then you'll be able to get into pharm sci 170A after the restriction is lifted. Does that help?
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I realized I wanted to ask whether you guys think that research is absolutely a necessary component of your farm site application, or whether it would kind of be a supplemental source that would really help you stand out as an applicant?
Anyone? Okay. I think I may not be the best person to answer this, but like for me personally, I think um, if you say it is like a must, I don't think it's actually a must, but it's a very good supplement because it doesn't only show you like you're passionate about like, you know, the science field in general, but also like even if your research is not science related, if it's like a psych research or like a social science research or what something like that, it can still show you that you have the leadership, you have the teamwork ability to help you navigate like what you do in your research team. So I think it is also an important point in proving that you have these attributes that will be beneficial to you being as a pharmacist.
Thank you, Ryan. And I was wondering if you think that maybe I've heard advice from a friend from a different organization in which you would kind of start planning out what you want to do research in towards the summer of your sophomore year, right? And then junior year, you get started.
Yes.
Thank you.
So what we have listed on those when we had those different years is just a suggestion. You can follow whatever pathway you think works best for you. So you can do some things earlier, some things later, just whatever works for you.
Thank you, Dana.
There's no need to follow what we had on the slides, just suggestions. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Hi, I want to ask a question if anyone else didn't have anything. I was wondering, I know Jenny, you said you were a peer tutor, I think this year, and then Dana, I'm not sure if, I don't remember if you said you were becoming one too, but what was the process in that? How did you find the opportunity to like apply for it?
I can go first if that's all right. So for me, it was just, it was a bit more casual maybe than other interactions. I personally know the professor just because I've helped him with some other classes. And to be honest, how did that first interaction start? I think I was just like visiting his lab or something, and then he just asked, "Oh, do you want to help me with this class?" And I was like, "Oh, like sure, I'll help you with this class." So it can be very casual, or you can totally reach out to them. I think it depends. Maybe Dana had a different experience, but for me, they just asked if I was interested. And something that is perhaps important to note is that they did mention to me, like, you don't have to be someone that knows every single thing in the class. It's just great to be able to interact with students and be able to help them, which is something that he thought that I could do. So that's something to note as well. You don't have to be like a superstar student in the material. As long as you're willing to help the students and interact with them and help them, it's a great quality.
So I am not like an official peer tutor. I got the tutoring job through my high school chemistry teacher that I was still really close with in college. Some students were struggling with topics and she asked if I was interested in tutoring. And I was like, oh, yeah, I just took Gen Chem last year. It's going to be fine, right? No, I literally had to go through all their lectures again because I forgot everything. Like my brain was so focused on OChem that a lot of the Gen Chem stuff got kicked out. But after reviewing the lectures, I picked some of it back up. So like, as Jenny was saying, you don't have to be a superstar student in the topic as long as you're willing to help the students. They're really grateful for it.
Thank you. And then Jenny, I was also wondering about your experience as a academic advisor, the same like process.
Oh, definitely. We are looking for applicants pretty soon. So if anyone is interested, you can definitely apply. We look for current second years to apply. So they would be applying for their third year, or possibly if you're a third year, you can apply to be a PAA your fourth year. Basically, it's like your standard application. You just go online to the website, and then they have the application there. You fill it out, and then they send it over to the directors or the counselors in the department that you applied for. Specifically for PharmSci, you have to be a PharmSci major in order to apply, but I know for some other departments, they accept other majors as well. But for PharmSci, you do have to be a pharm sci major. You fill out the application, and then the counselors and the directors are the ones that look through the applications, and then they select people to interview, and then you interview, and then they let you know maybe like within 2 weeks if you got accepted or not. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it is past the meeting time. Thank you so much, Jenny and Ryan, for presenting with me. And we are going to move on to our after social on Discord. But if you have any further questions about scheduling your classes or applying to pharmacy school, Jenny and Ryan and the rest of the board will be there to answer your questions. I won't be able to attend, but I hope you guys have a great time on Discord at the after social. And Clayton just sent the chat in. Just send the link in the chat for you guys to join.
Thank you everyone for coming.
Yes, guys can go on and hop on over there.
Yeah.
I'll stay for a little bit before I end the meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for coming.